Hey everybody, welcome back to Small Town Music. Yes, I'm wearing the same outfit because we're recording on the same day.
Multitasking.
So, last week we talked about musicals, and this week we're going to talk about contest, competition, and festivals, kind of what they are, and the unique qualities of each one, and maybe like which one might be best for you.
Yeah, so this is kind of our definition. So when you hear us talking about each one, this is what we're considering. So we're considering a festival, something that is probably like comments only, maybe with a clinic following up. In our world, that would be like IMEA offers festivals that you can go to. So they have no sort of ranking or score. It's just simply having an outsider listen to your ensemble perform and giving feedback. A contest is something, what we're considering something like would be like ISMA contest, organizational or solo ensemble, something that is, you're not necessarily competing against other ensembles, but you are being scored and giving a rating. So gold, silver, bronze, or superior, excellent, good, whatever. And finally, then we would talk about competitions, which is where you are actually up against other ensembles in your division. Usually you're also given a rating as well. But those do have like a first place, second place, third place also attached to them
With a nice shiny trophy.
with pretty trophies.
Yeah, so in my experience, I've done kind of all three at various times. So, festival, I did a festival in clinic a few years ago when I just had super weird instrumentation. And I was like, I'm not taking these guys at a contest because I didn't have any flutes. My tuba player, got suspended or something. And, I had, a percussionist. It was super. If you're at a small school, you probably know. If you know, you know. So I really like that experience because the kids got instant feedback, and I got instant feedback as a conductor and as a teacher to be like, oh, this is an area of concern. This is what I'm doing well. Okay, let's reevaluate. It was also really great because we got to perform in a real auditorium, which is really nice for the kids to be able to do that. We don't have that, and we actually end up taking, for my band concert in the spring, I take my kids to the local theater, but it's not designed for concert band. It's better than the gym. It's not great. Yeah, so that's a really cool experience to get that instant feedback. I know some people use that for preparation for a contest. Some people use that as their kind of like, hey, we're gonna go away, we're gonna travel, we're gonna perform in front of other people, we're gonna make a good impression, all this stuff. And I think that if you're new to the scene, if you haven't done competitions very much before, then that's probably a really good place to start, so that you kind of know where you stand. Also, if you just have crazy instrumentation, like this year my middle school band, or no, even my high school band, I have 3 flutes, 3 clarinets, no trumpets, 1 alto sax, 1 French horn, 3 trombones, 3 baritones, 2 percussionists. And if you're
And a partridge in a pear tree.
right, so and it's just like I can't I can't play anything without rewriting the entire part or playing flex band, which honestly flex band is amazing. I love it. I'm here for it. I will buy all of it. Flex band is, if you haven't heard of it yet, it's this music that they each it's divided into 6 parts, and so they have flute, clarinet, trumpet part 1, flute, clarinet, trumpet part 2, flute, clarinet, saxophone part 3. And so you can kind of mix and match, oh great, I have 6 flutes, 3 of them can be on part 1, 3 of them can be on part 2. I have no trumpets. Okay, cool, I can cover that part with the alto sax, and it I don't have to rewrite music at that point, and that's really awesome. So festivals are really great for that, and it's a really good experience. And it's also, if you are going to contest or competition, that's a really great thing to prepare you for what you need to work on. I know in Indiana, the IMEA festival and clinic, I feel like it usually happens early-ish March, well before ISMA contest, so that you can kind of prepare. Unfortunately for us, that means it's in the middle of basketball sectionals, which means we can't always take our groups, which is really sad. Contest. So I often take my high school and usually middle school band. It's been really weird with COVID. A couple years ago, my middle school band got to go, but not the high school band. And then last year it was all virtual. And then this year I only took middle school band because, again, high school band, I don't have trumpets, I don't have alto sax. So I made the choice to just take my middle school. So contest is really intense for me. I think for a lot of people, it's a big deal. It's I really like it, and I think it's very valuable. One, we get a plaque, a nice shiny plaque, hopefully a gold rating, so then we can say, like, look, we got gold, look how awesome we are, look how great our kids are. I have gotten silver before, and this year I got my first bronze, and that really hurt. But it's still a really valuable experience because it helps me reevaluate as a teacher, and it comes in the spring where I can actually sit down, at the end of school and, like, look through those comments and say, what do I need to do next year to be where I need to be to get the higher rating? So for contest, we have different groups. Group like 5 to 1. I know in middle school contest, group 5 is beginning band only. Group 4 is the lowest you can take a middle school 7th and 8th grade band, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. It's kind of like whose line is it anyway, and the groups don't really matter until group 1. And it's just like the music is a little bit more difficult each level you go. So, what I haven't been very good at picking music that will make my band successful and then fitting that into the category. That is something that we should all do. But again, I kind of talked about this in the musicals episode. It's really hard to do that because we want to give our kids that challenge. And I do have kids they're able to play the music I give them. But then I also have, 5 or 6 kids that cannot and will not be able to play that music. So it's really tricky. I sometimes have to rewrite parts. I sometimes write a letter to the judges, like put it in the packet, like, hey, my school is very interesting and we don't have a lot of things. Like, here are the instruments we do not have at my school. Like, please be aware of this while you're judging. And that's an okay thing to do. I have a weird complex about that. Like, I don't like to do that because I'm like, no, they're going to judge us for what we are. And then I get mad when they give me a lower score because they don't understand that I'm a small school and my one trombone player isn't ever going to play his part because it's really hard for him to play it by himself. and that's just something you kind of got to go into it knowing that, like, the judging panel only sees your band in this one small slice of time. They do not see it every day at rehearsal. They do not see your kids succeed day in and day out. They do not see the process from beginning to end. They see this one product on the stage, and they see the snare drummer who isn't playing his parts, and they see the trombone player who isn't playing his parts. They see and hear the clarinet player that could be playing louder on the melody line, but she's really nervous because she's by herself and the whole thing is basically a solo. Again, there are sometimes the judging panels are really forgiving and really nice, and maybe they've had those experiences themselves so they know. There are times that I've gone to contest and gotten reamed because my band is a unique instrumentation, and they're like, well, your balance of blend is off, and I'm like, yep it is. Yes it is, all the time, every day. Like, you are not wrong, sir. And you just kind of gotta go in understanding that and do your best to match that. I get really, I don't know if confused is the right word, but I forget almost. At contest time, like, the judges are looking at the score and they are looking at what matches the score and what doesn't match the score based on your performance. At a concert, you can get away with, missing a couple bass lines or whatever. You can get away with not really doing the articulations because there's not an audience member sitting there going, oh, measure 27, flutes, you didn't slur that. Not good. A minus, whatever. But the judges are. And so that's a thing you have to remember, that if it's on the score, they need to see and hear it. For competition, I know the ones that we've gone to are like Music in the Parks and Orlando Fest, and those, that's just kind of, I think they're awesome because you get to bring home a trophy, and that's really fun, and that builds morale for the kids and for the, the program, and it does some really good things, and we've taken the kids to contest and won overall. And then we've also taken the kids to contest and not done very well, even though I think we performed great for what we usually do. But you're up against literally anyone. And that judging panel, you have no idea who and what they are. You don't know what state they're from. You don't know what program they're from. I don't even know.
Yeah. So with all this, you know, you got to kind of ask yourself, number one, like, do I want to compete? Do I want to put my kids through that?
Do I want to put myself through that?
Do I, you know, and I think if the answer is no, that's okay. It can be not yet. It can be not anymore. And I think that's okay. You got to choose what's right for your program. Because bottom line is, as a smaller school, there's a very good chance that you're just not going to sound like, you know, I know, like, especially in choir world, you know, a 10-person ensemble is not going to sound like a 50-person ensemble. A 10-person ensemble can sound beautiful together, but they're not going to be able to perform the same works that 50-person choir can do. And so I think it's okay. So that's the first thing I guess I want to say and is to consider. The reason why, so I personally, I have never done ISSMA contest. I have never taken my ensembles. We go to solo and ensemble, and sometimes I'll take on small ensembles there. I'll take my kids and do solo work there. We have never done ISSMA organizational, and that's my own personal philosophy. Refer back to our philosophy of music episode. And I want my kids to love singing and enjoy singing. And when I see my kids for less than 3 hours a week, you know, my high school choir, you know, sometimes it's, 2 to 3 hours a week, we simply do not have the time to work on the fundamentals.
And again, it goes back to what people you have too. You know, if you don't have, one, you don't have the time. Two, like, you don't have the people. You don't have the full group. And so you're going to get reamed on all these things that you can do nothing about.
And so, and so for me, like, it's just my choice that I'm like, that's not for me. However, we do competition things. You know, I do take my choirs to, you know, the Music in the Parks, the festivals of music, the Orlando Fest. I feel like there are other ones that we've done as well. You know, because those are, those have so much more fun built into them. I mean, really, for lack of a better way to say it, we can.
I mean, it's a trip. It's, you go to the theme park.
Right. You've got to travel somewhere.
Orlando Fest, they had this awards show in the park, and it was like they had a DJ, and they're having like dance competitions, and then the kids like get to come down and get the trophies, and they're like screaming and the music, and it's like the coolest award show ever for band kids, like for music kids in high school. Like, it is the coolest award show they will ever get in their entire high school music career, and it's amazing, and I love it. I'm here for it.
And because it just is, because it's morale boosting. And, you know, sure, like we brought home first place trophies, not really knowing how many people are in our division, but that's okay. But we also got that superior rating and that excellent rating, which I always tell my kids is much more what I'm looking for anyways, you know, because that's kind of like the ISSMA based, you know, just based on your score alone. Mm-hmm. And so we go, and it's big, and it's morale boosting. And whether we like it or not,
Parents,
our
community
responds.
Admin, I mean, anybody's community.
Really.
Like, if you say, like, yes, we won versus, oh, we got great comments at this festival, but we did not compete, then, like, one of those things sounds better to people that don't understand our job.
And so, whether you like it or not, bringing home shiny trophies.
Every once in a while, like, you don't have to do it all the time.
Yeah, there are schools that do the show choir circuit and bring home trophies every weekend, and that's amazing. Go you, if that is you. I have 2 small children, and so that schedule is not for me.
And not enough.
That is not my journey.
Staff members.
That is not my journey. However,
I do not receive it.
However, bringing, bringing some shiny things home, every year, every other year, is a big recruiting tool for us. It's a big support booster for us. So we do that. The IMEA sort of like comments only festival, I think, is a fantastic opportunity, especially for your younger groups who just giving them the opportunity to go and perform somewhere else.
Or if that school doesn't have a tradition of going to contest. I know my predecessor established the tradition of taking the kids to contest, and so it was expected. And not necessarily by admin. I know some schools are like, yes, you must do this contest, you must do the marching band contest, you must, whatever. But for a small school, that's kind of the beauty of it, that like we set our own limits and traditions. And also, like, if we don't get a gold, then my principals don't necessarily like have it out. They're not upset with me. They're like, oh, hey, you still got a plaque. Awesome. Because they don't really know what it means.
So I think the biggest tip for being successful, if you do choose one of these options, is number one, choose the right option for your school. And just based on the style of music, your instrumentation, your community expectations, what you want to glean out of it. And what really comes back to, and we've said this before and we'll say it again, and we said it with the musical, is choosing the right repertoire for your kids. Especially if you're going to do a contest. If you're going to do contest, I think it's okay to err on the easy side.
Especially like, again, I live in the world, like, I want to challenge my kids, but I also don't want them to be set up for failure. And I don't want them to come home from this thing that I've built up and said it's amazing and all this cool stuff about, and then we feel like we fail because I picked too hard of music. And like, the kids are going to feel confident, comfortable, and good when they know the music backwards and forwards. Again, kind of like the musical episode, we talked about the amount of time. So if you are preparing for a contest, I give that music like 4 months in advance.
It's amazing just allowing them to sit on it,
Yeah, just like,
you don't practice it every day.
It's even like after our Christmas concert, I hand it out like that, a couple weeks or whatever we have that we aren't doing Christmas music. I hand it out and give it to them, and maybe we read through it. I have them listen to it. I have them like play around with it, and then we have Christmas break, and then in January I do a couple different things. Like, maybe I'll do like a jazz unit, or I'll do solo and ensemble unit, and have the kids, like, every kid does a solo or ensemble, and we trade off days. And then, February, March, we really hit it hard. But yeah, it's pretty awesome to see the transformation from beginning to end when they've had that much time. With any music, even if it's just a concert.
Yeah, this year when we went to Orlando, it just happened that I only had one of my guys in my middle school, high school group go. And so I actually ended up choosing SSA music for them, because I'm like, I'm not going to put him, he's a 7th grade, my 7th grade boy.
His voice really hasn't changed.
And so I was like, we can make this work. And so my SATB ensemble sang some SSA music. And in fact, one of the pieces was even a 2-part piece with like optional 3rd part notes in it, because I would rather them go sing well, sing confidently. We can work on things like blend and tuning and focus on the good entrances and diction and do all those little things really well, than to pick something that's
out of their range.
It
may challenge them, and they might be able to sing the correct notes. But if they don't know these musical qualities, it's like, yeah, so like I picked too hard music this year, and it showed, because the kids could get from point A to point B, and they could finish the piece. They did not know their articulations. We did not really know our dynamics, and like, honestly, they're not super comfortable with it.
Yeah,
because I had to spend so much time like, nope, let's go over that part. Nope, that's a really hard part. Let's try that again. Nope, that's really, yeah.
Right. And when you're talking about recruiting for a program, when you're talking about recruitment and retention, and you just want your kids to enjoy making music, giving them music that they can be successful making music Like, that's where it's at. You know, that's where the joy comes from. That's what's going to keep them making music. That's what's going to allow them to be more confident performers who believe in their, like, I'm good at music versus I'm always struggling with music. And that's what we need. You know, we need our kids to believe that they can do it. And so
these contests can be a really nice morale booster if they're done well. And sometimes you just get some judges that are not really forgiving, and that stinks, but kids are resilient. You're gonna be okay.
Yep.
The sun will shine again, and you will learn from the experience. And again, you know, my brother, he said progress, like, things get better when progress happens. If there's not progress being made, then it's not going to get better. But if you're making progress, it will get better. It may be slow. It may take some time, but, like, make progress. And that's the goal. And for me, like, these contest, festival, clinic, or competition, it's a really nice check-in of how I'm doing. Because it's really easy to think you're doing a great job until you take your kids to a contest and hear someone else's opinion, and you're like, oh, you're right, we're not doing that. Oh, you're right, I need to do more of that. Oh, yep, you are not wrong. I need to fix that. And it's a nice, like, it's great for the kids, but it's also really, I do it for me mostly because I need that feedback and I need that reality check of where am I at and what can I do better.
It's also really nice whenever the judges tell them that they need to work on something that you've been telling them to work on. Like,
it's like when your mom tells you to wear a sweater because it's cold, and then someone else says, hey, you should wear a sweater, it's cold, and then you listen to that.
And so it's really nice whenever you can get reinforcement on that as well.
Like,
so
yes, I did tell you to do that. Weird. Yeah. Anything that you love right now in your life? Any like a product or like a relaxation technique? Or food, I don't know. Anything that just, like, brings you joy.
I don't know, man. You just, like, can't just, like, spring this on me.
That's who I am.
Things. Okay, you go first. What's bringing you joy right now?
Bringing me joy. Well, the weather's getting warmer, which I can't control that, but that is nice. I think... I'm almost done with my master's.
Which is amazing.
Which is an amazing thing.
Cheers.
I think being okay, and this is just kind of going to sound really silly, and I'm okay with that. I think being okay with just, like, eating whatever meal sounds good in the moment. And I know that's, like, a dumb, like, well, duh, of course you want to eat what you want. But, like, I feel like it's really, when I get really stressed, it's really easy to be like, well, I gotta have fruits, I gotta have vegetables, I gotta have protein, I gotta have this. And it's like, you know, if the plate of nachos, like what I call nachos are tortilla chips with shredded cheese that I melt in the microwave. If that sounds good and that's what I want to eat, then, like, that's it, man. Or if it's, like, cereal for dinner, not because we don't have food, but because, like, that's what's gonna, like, make me feel good in that moment. And especially, I mean, I've talked before, I have Crohn's disease, so sometimes that is, like, what it is. But I think just remembering that it's okay to eat the gas station pizza, maybe not always, but it's okay. Like, your meal doesn't have to be complete for you to feel completely full. And, like, and I know eating well overall is going to help you, but, like, if you need that little treat, then, like, take it, because life is full of problems, and sometimes,
Sure.
I don't know. I know that's just, like, kind of a weird, like, thing I like, but, like, that's where I'm at right now. That's what it is.
It's good, man. It's all good. I am loving that I'm mostly out of my extracurriculars right now. So the year is kind of winding down for me, which is always kind of bittersweet, but it is really nice to, at least for right now, to be back to kind of an 8 to 3:30 schedule. So I get to spend some time with my kiddos. And
I love, like, getting my concert done in early May, because then I have time to reflect on the school year and not necessarily, like, write it down, but kind of mentally plan my next moves for next year. And just, like, it's, like, fresh, so I can kind of, like, get an idea of, like, okay, this is what I really want to focus on next year. Maybe these are some pieces I've heard that I really like. So that is nice to, like...
For real, if you have the option to do an early spring concert, do it. Mine was on April 3rd, and I love that, because April and May is so nuts. So if you have that option in your life, I would highly recommend.
Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for listening. Please email us with suggestions about episodes. Like if you have a topic that you want discussed, or if you have a thing that you're like, this is a really weird thing at my school, please help. Let's talk at smalltownmusicpodcast@gmail.com. And then on Instagram, small.townmusic. And then on the TikTok, Small Town Music. On YouTube, Small Town Music. On Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Small Town Music. Yeah. Please like, subscribe, comment, review, rate, good things. Positive vibes. All right. Thank you so much.